Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Alia from Z Team. This is Isabella, that's Nidhi, and we have Amita and Ishan there. So today we'll be sharing about our project, Transient Workers Library. So just a few weeks ago, when I was coming back from school at about 3 p.m., I saw some construction workers working under the hot sun. And it immediately made me think back to this YAC project and why the issue we're tackling is very urgent. Next. Based on extensive research, we found out that construction workers don't have enough knowledge on health-related issues. Secondly, they also tend to delay or even avoid seeking medical attention because they don't want to miss out on days of work or even potentially getting fired. To give you a scale of the problem, just looking at the marine and construction sector alone, we have employed more than 300,000 foreign workers, which is a significant number for such a small nation like Singapore. Now, these workers usually come from India or Bangladesh, and they work up to 8 to 9 hours continuously a day. It's also their first time working away from home. And we also realize that they lack sufficient information for their personal health. So these are the three main current gaps that we have identified. The first one is fear of repercussions. So based on a study by NUS in 2020 of about 500 respondents, almost a quarter of them actually said that they fear being deported and hence choose to not speak up about their medical condition. And the second one is, as you can see here, there are actually various websites and articles containing useful information for migrant construction workers. However, they're scattered all over the web, and this makes it difficult for these workers to navigate and find specific information that they want. And thirdly, based on the same study, we also realized that these workers sometimes don't really know what kind of illnesses they're experiencing, and hence they just choose to not see a doctor.
So our solution is called the Transient Workers Library that targets the 3 pain points mentioned earlier. It is a comprehensive, centralized place for the migrant workers to attain their information. So we put together a survey of about 40 respondents and received an overwhelming fraction of these respondents said that they are interested in learning more about their healthcare entitlements and to access it in the form of a website, which we have done through the Transient Workers Library, TWL. To start off, it will be in the form of a website that is also available on tablet and phone. There are 3 key features to our solution. The first one being collation of healthcare information, live chat, and podcasts. The first one is to make sure that information is centralized for easy, convenient access to information they require. Information will be organized in 3 clusters: common illnesses, physical injuries, and mental well-being. These themes are based on research and feedback that we have gotten from our survey respondents earlier. Now, we know that sometimes the workers might have concerns on whether or not they should see a doctor or whether or not their condition is serious. However, doctors only operate during office hours, and this corresponds to when they are working. And this is where our live chat comes in really handy, as the workers will be able to get the help and response that they need at the time of their convenience. Lastly, podcasts. We plan on inviting healthcare professionals to share tips on health-related topics and for construction workers themselves to share more about their experience to make our podcast more relatable to listeners. We will also curate our resources in their local language, whether it's in Tamil, Bangla, or Mandarin.
Hi, okay, so I'll start talking about the implementation plans. So in the first month, we're planning on getting in touch with HealthServe for a collaboration and feedback on our website. And in the months 2 to 3, we're planning on contacting web developers to develop our website and publish it. And in the months 4 to 5, we're planning on publicizing our website on other migrant worker support groups, as well as social media platforms that our target group uses often. And in the last month, we're planning on rolling out the podcasts to make our website more attractive to these users. Okay, so as of now, we're not really partnering with any group or organization. So here are some partners that we want to work with. First is HealthServe for their professionals, as well as because we want to ask them about what to put on our website and what to put on our podcast. And SDI Academy for translating our website and podcast, as well as web developers to make our website. And resources are seed funding to support the first few months of web development as well as for publicity. So just a brief overview, this is what we're looking at. This is how we plan to utilize our budget as well as, so this is the 10K that we're looking for. And just to wrap it up real quick, so after 6 months, we actually hope to see about 7,000 to 8,000 users on our website and at least 2,000 people using the live chat function. And we hope to see a substantial number of professionals doing our podcasts as well as high satisfaction ratings that we will check through the use of surveys. So, we hope to scale this project further by including migrant workers from other sectors, such as domestic sectors, not only the construction sector, as well as making our website available in other languages. So this is our team, I'll just finish this up real quick. We're urgently calling for actually a direct introduction to HealthServe and other migrant worker support groups for possible partnerships, as well as someone to take over the project while we're away during our A-levels revision period, as well as the actual A-levels. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So back again to the panelists.
I think this is a very meaningful initiative. I'm just curious about your chat function. Is it a chat bot or is there somebody manning the chat? And can they also support like multiple languages? And what are the operating hours for the chat?
Our chat box function, it will be automatically replied to with a bot. However, we hope to work with healthcare professionals from like organizations that we have mentioned, such as HealthServe, who are there to also respond to their direct needs. So in case they do have any questions or concerns, after the bot replies to them about any sort of advice that they could immediately take for action, these professionals can then follow up with more detailed and customized advice that could help the migrant workers better. In terms of languages, yes, we do hope to make sure that all the 4 main languages, or not only 4, but the main languages that we have mentioned, such as Bangla, Mandarin, are also accessible in the chat box function, because we do realize that the language barrier is quite severe. Hence, I think that is why we would also like to work with SDI Academy, so that we'll have enough translators to also work and help these migrant workers.
Also to add on that, we noticed that on the HealthServe website, we found a 24-hour helpline. So this is one reason why we want to work with HealthServe, to also perhaps leverage on that and seek their help in making our live chat function as well.
Just a consideration for the group. Have you considered also perhaps prioritizing domestic workers? And I ask because, personally for me, I think they're the most important. Migrant workers, yes, their needs are there, but they tend to be staying together, whereas domestic workers tend to be isolated. And that's when information like this become even more relevant to them. They may not have the social network, especially if they come in for the first time, and I'm thinking how this will be very beneficial, particularly for domestic workers.
Well, we definitely thought about how we can help domestic workers as well. But because we started off our project considering the needs of migrant workers, especially in the construction industry, we thought that, okay, after we implement this and we see the success of this project, we can slowly increase the scale to also include domestic workers. Then we can also increase helping the support offered for the foreigners who have helped our country so much.
To add on to this, right, I think we mainly focused on construction workers first, is that because based on the research we did, we found out that quite a few number of employers actually breach the health entitlements of these employees. So yeah, that's why. As for domestic workers, we didn't primarily focus on that because I think they have this policy where they have to go for checkup every 6 months. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to hear about your passion for this group, which I think is increasing attention, especially after COVID. One question I have for you is, do you anticipate also working with other stakeholders in the ecosystem, and by that I mean, for instance, the dormitory operators, the employers, etc., so that you can win them over rather than, maybe potentially alienate them?
Yeah, so that was actually like our initial plan. In the first few stages, we were thinking about like who we can work with and everything. But then like after a few consultations with like people from the construction sector and everything, we realized that it's going to be a bit hard for us because we have like absolutely no standing in the sector. So it's going to be hard for us to just like walk up to them and say, oh, like we want to collaborate with you. So we're thinking of like starting off slowly through reputed construction migrant worker support groups. So that's why we're starting off small. Then once we have like a solid firm holding, then we're planning on working with people of a higher position.
So one comment for you is that, under the Law Society Pro Bono Services, which I chair, there is a migrant worker coalition, and there may be some possibilities in the future. Maybe you can link up.
Thank you.
I will also make a quick comment since we're down to the last 30 seconds. Maybe it's also useful to find out for the different groups, because you have the different, be it, are they Indian workers or from Bangladesh, for instance, what are actually the common sites that they are already going to? I think I'm saying it, maybe they're all on TikTok. I don't know. But I think sometimes it's easier to find out where, in terms of online traffic, they are going to, and to see how we can leverage off that. Because I think a lot of times when we look at apps and app development, one of the difficulties is, to be honest, there is a huge prevalence of apps out there. And it's very difficult to see why you should use my app and not another person's app. But don't get me wrong, because I think what you have here, live chat functions, information, all that is extremely important. But I'm just saying that if you would like to take this forward, perhaps some research can be done into what are some of the existing channels that the transient workers are already going to. Or perhaps, like you say, or like what Greg mentioned, some of the existing stakeholders who are already in touch with them, then that would be the organic traffic flow that could, come on board the platform you're looking at without you having to start from ground zero. Thank you. Well, exactly 0 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.